Hey, what's up, everybody? Rob Sower here with Sower Real Estate at Keller Williams Realty. And man, lot of stuff going on. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my life has been super crazy lately. And I know I say that a lot, but sorry about that, guys. We've had a lot of change in our family. Well, hey, one of the first changes, I'm actually doing the email newsletter video when it's not nighttime, so that's good. Also, much more important, we have my oldest son, Thomas, is now engaged. Since the last email newsletter video, he asked just this fantastic young lady, her name is Abby, she couldn't be any better for Thomas, asked her to marry him, and she said yes. So we don't have a date yet at this point, but pretty awesome news. This video, I think I need to get a new gimbal. This thing's all, anyway. Another thing is my third oldest son, JP, he's going to be leaving next week for a little bit, for like a month-long discernment trip to these Franciscan friars. So that's a lot of change too. Just crazy stuff. And on the real estate side, we have a new team member that is joining us. I know I mentioned that in the last email newsletter that we would have someone coming on board, and that is official now. His name is Austin Wingo, a really great guy that is very committed to doing the right thing, high integrity, and so I'm going to be bringing him on, training him on things. He'll be down in the Boise office, so we're super excited about that. I'll tell you more about that as time goes on, but that's the official announcement there. And like I say, we'll explain more as time goes on. And then I have a kind of a funny story to tell you guys that happened recently. So I have what I would call like a core advocate. He's a really good friend, and he just promotes me all the time. It's just, I'm super thankful for it. And obviously referrals are something that are a big deal to me. When you have what I would call a core advocate, it's even more of a big deal. But anyway, he had mentioned to someone recently that I would be calling them, and he gave me this guy's contact info. So I called him, and he said, "Oh, hey, I'm looking for some land. Do you know of anything coming up?" I said, "Well, not necessarily, but I could help you find something. I don't know of anything just right offhand in this particular area that he was looking in." And he said, "Oh, so you're a realtor?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I kind of laughed because I could tell in his tone of voice there was kind of like this, "Oh, you're a realtor," and which actually I can't say I'd totally blame him. That being said, he said, "Yeah, I thought maybe you knew of something that was kind of off market," again, which is fine. I've helped people with that stuff before. He said, a lot of the times when, we didn't say a lot of times, he said, yeah, when the realtors get a hold of things, they just go up in price, and I want to get something that's, at a lower price, blah, blah, blah. And again, totally fine. But it was interesting to me because at first I was kind of a little bit put off by his his attitude towards realtors. But then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, it's kind of interesting that he was concerned about, the realtors, quote, getting a hold of it, and as if the realtors have some sort of like magical power to, change the value of something. And I started thinking about that, and while it's totally not true, there is something to that I was kind of thinking a little bit deeper there. What's interesting there is that there's this idea that he's got that the realtors somehow change the value. And really, the reality is, no, the realtor's there to, in a way, kind of validate what the value is. Granted, again, we don't change what the value is, but if you're able to look at what's going on in the market, you do this all the time, you see what things buy and sell for, you see comps and everything else, and you can find out the story behind those comps, well then I could see why he wouldn't necessarily want something that a quote realtor had their hands on or whatever, because then he's more likely going to have to pay fair market value. The other thing that I thought was interesting about that is, how's that for the seller? Like, wouldn't the seller want fair market value instead of being taken advantage of? Anyway, I don't want to get too much into that, but it was just kind of one of these little stories that, I don't know, I feel like I can share with you guys every once in a while. One of the conversations that I have with people that, I don't know, make me kind of scratch my head a little bit. Okay, there's the story for this month. Jumping into the market dynamics, again, I talk a lot about change in the market right now. Definitely seeing that still. This is always an interesting time of year because we're rolling into the third or the fourth quarter from the third quarter. So, holidays, weather, all of that stuff start to come into play a little bit. And so it's pretty understandable we see a little bit of a shifting in the market. And so far this year, same but different. For the Ada County market, our actives went from 930 up to 943 from July to August. Our pendings went from 515 down to 481 from July to August, and the solds went from 490 up to 525. We saw our inventory go from 2 months of inventory up to 2.1, so not a huge change there. And we saw the average home sale price came down a little bit more from the 581, 155 in July down to 580, 964. So it's basically the same, but we're still seeing a little bit of a pullback there, and we're seeing the inventory creep up a little bit. Like I say, some of that is seasonality, although the Ada County market, I don't think it has that quite as much as the North Idaho market. And so that's what I'll jump into next. This is the stats, and you can like read and go through stats after stats after stats. I mean, I've got pages of this stuff, and it would bore you to tears, or maybe some of you it wouldn't. Some of you probably really like that sort of thing. So if you ever want it, I can email you stuff that you can just pour over. And so I really look at kind of like the high points of this, like the new listings. I look at, okay, how much stuff is coming on the market and how does that compare to last year, for example. And what's interesting there is new construction for the North Idaho, for the Kootenai County market for Coeur d'Alene MLS. So far this year, they're up 31%. And for listings, whereas the existing homes, or what they call the previously owned homes, is down 13.4%. Now, what's really interesting, well, I'll give you my kind of take on that here in just a second. But so then we jump into closed sales, and we've got from the new construction, so far their closed sales are down 9.7% this year. And the previously owned homes, existing homes, is down 16.6%. Now, average home sale price, this is really interesting here. So average home sale price for new homes versus previously owned or existing homes, so far for 2023, the average home sale price for new construction is actually up 4.1%, whereas existing homes have come down almost 3%, so 2.8. Now, what's interesting is, so you see those are the numbers I just quoted, and they may seem like, oh, well, that's kind of interesting, or, oh, new construction, it's up for prices, average sales price this year. And, existing homes are only down 3% so far. And while that's true, what I think is even more important is when you compare that to the previous years. For example, in 2021, the average price for new construction went up 33%. And then in 2022, it went up another 31%. So now all of a sudden that 4%, when you put it in that perspective, is a little bit different. Whereas existing homes, 2021, they went up 43% average home sale price. And then 2022, 13.3%. So now this backing off at the negative 3%, or they're down 3%, makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, I won't get into anymore. I could, like I say, I could bore you guys to death with some of the stats and all that kind of stuff. But the basic sentiment is, like I mentioned, there's a lot of change going on. The markets typically don't like change, and we're seeing that in buyer and seller activity. We see a lot of buyers that are a little bit more skittish. I just had someone today on a listing that we had under contract, and they literally they terminated in the inspection, and there was no tangible reason. It wasn't like they found something in the inspection. I mean, the home was pretty new. They just got cold feet and backed out. So we're seeing stuff like that, which is something to just keep in mind if you're a seller. There's just much more volatility, so to kind of be prepared for that. Okay, totally over in time. Sorry, that story went a little bit long. And now we're like at almost 11 minutes. So sorry about that. I hope the video was helpful for you guys. And as always, if there's something that you guys have questions on or concerns in the real estate space, would love to be able to help you. So you know where to reach us. Thanks. Have a great weekend. Bye.